income this month just from my social media course alone. I'm not one to brag, but I do want to talk about how this can apply to you. I've been a social media manager for over 6 years, so I know at this point what works and what doesn't work and how to make a ton of money online. Am I doing that for myself? No. I've barely promoted my course. I'm not proud of that, I'm just saying. But I've been doing this for my clients for years, so I want to share the things that work and the things that don't work, because if you own a business, this applies to you. Even though I haven't been promoting my course as much as I would like to, I still have been doing other things that most people miss the mark on. Most people who have something to sell go into creating content with one thing in mind, and it's how to sell that thing. And that is a mistake right off the bat. For example, I've been creating content for 6 months and I knew I was going to have a social media course coming out. Never did I ever create content around selling the course. My intention has always been to just pack my videos with value and give you as much information as I can, because all I want to do is actually help you. And here is the most important part. Over the last 6 months, growing my account into oblivion was not my number one goal. Unlike a lot of people, I did not care how many followers I got. I didn't care how many views I got, how many likes I got. All I cared about was the community that I was building. So for the past 6 months, I've been creating a very, very strong community of people who either want to be or already are social media managers. I made it a point to always respond to comments, always respond to DMs. I try to give as much free advice as I possibly can. So 6 months later, when I released my social media course, I realized that it was those people who I took the time to respond to or to nurture or to help who pulled the trigger the fastest. Why? Because if I'm giving all of that information for free, you better believe the course has either more than that or expands on it. More often than not, I see creators posting things like, I figured out how to make 6 figures a month by only working 2 hours a day. And if you want to hear more about it, message me. And you message them and they just try to sell you their course. That does not work, nor should it. First of all, you haven't established any trust with your audience. Second of all, if you're not willing to give any of your value away, why should I be willing to go in blind? Okay, another thing, I haven't put any ads or any paid media behind my course. Any money that I've made is completely organic. That being said, I've seen so many creators post ads that are basically them trying to fearmonger their audiences into buying their product or course. I'm running out of time and I have so much more advice I could give, so if this is helpful and you want a part 2, let me know. Anybody can do it, and like you said, authenticity sells. So I'm not going to recommend every single day post it at all. I recommend doing it in a very organic way. Start by asking your audience, the audience that you do have, what they would want to see from you, what links that they would want. Do polls, do engaging questions, and then from there, pull things that people are like genuinely asking for and sit there and take the time. If you're actually like me, I like to content batch. So if you have a day where you can like ask the question and then the next day you can sit there and pull the links for the week basically, and just, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, post those links. And then in between that, still post your organic content. And in the middle, just post those links very casually, not in your face, different price points, and people will start to learn how to shop from you. It's not going to happen overnight. People are like, I'm not going to do affiliates because I made $3. And I'm like, yeah, you made $3 to start. But in 6 months, that's going to be $3,000. You don't know. Just try it and see.
Is there an overkill? Can you oversell your audience?
I'm the social media manager for Heather Rael Musa. You guys might recognize her from Selling Sunset. Here's how I took her from 1.7 million followers on Instagram to 3 million followers on Instagram. Of course, being on Selling Sunset and HGTV is going to help you get followers, but that in no way means that those followers are going to stay. Here's what we did to grow her following and create a community along the way. First things first, I created a very strong and detailed strategy for her so that we could use it as kind of a blueprint. I also tracked her analytics every single month. I've talked about this before, and I also sell this template on my Etsy storefront. Tracking analytics is so important and so underrated because I would use that as kind of my guide of what's working and what's not. And I would really get down into the nitty-gritty so that I could understand what her audience is engaging with and what her audience isn't. And then from there, I could plan content accordingly. Another thing that really helped was constantly asking her audience what they wanted to see. We used polls and question boxes and still do, so don't be shy about using those things. And if you go way back in her feed, we used to care so much more about having it curated and aesthetically gorgeous. But since she's on Selling Sunset and all you really see is her in glam, we noticed that her audience really likes the more real side, the more raw side, which is more Heather anyway. She's very down to earth. She loves not wearing makeup. She loves having her hair up. She loves being in cozy clothes, sweatpants, like very, very casual and cute. So we started to post more of the realness and more of that side of her so that people started to feel more genuinely connected to her. And then I saved the best for last, in my opinion. If you scroll through her feed, her captions are filled with value or filled with something relatable. She almost never posts just like a basic caption, and if she does, it's very once in a while. Instead, she's always posting something that her audience can learn from or talk about or relate to, things like that, so that people want to stay on your page. Those are the top 5 things I did to grow her audience from 1.7 million followers to 3 million followers on Instagram, and you can do it too. You can schedule all your posts. I don't recommend it. If something goes wrong, which Instagram is so glitchy, TikTok you can't schedule. The thing is like that stuff is not always reliable. And also a lot of the time, if you do schedule it within the app, and this is a conspiracy theory that I fully agree with, is that it diminishes the engagement. It kind of like boggles you down in the algorithm.
So you think it's a conspiracy because you think they want you to be live? On there.
I do think that they want, yes, I do think that they want you to be live.
That's pretty clever.
100%. You can. I'm about to expose myself, but I don't even care because I think it'll be helpful to show what works and what doesn't work when it comes to cold DMs and cold emails. Just to back up, I'm a social media manager. I've been a social media manager for 6 years, and I found my very first influencer client by cold emailing her. I still cold email and cold DM till this day, and I have a great success rate, but I have some fails, so I'm gonna show both so you can see. This is a micro influencer that I reached out to last September. So let's just break this down. I introduced myself, and then I immediately try to establish credibility by naming off the people that I've worked with. I'm fortunate enough to have worked with big names in the celebrity and influencer space, but even if you don't have that, you can still put who you've worked with. I then add something personal from her content that I've been noticing. I noticed that she dropped a new podcast and figured that she might need help with it. I also did my research and found out that she's not from LA and I am, so I figured that could be a bonus. And I included that by showing that could bring extra value to her. I ended it in a friendly but professional way and said that I can send my portfolio over if she wants to take a peek at my past work. She responded pretty quickly to that and let me know that she does want to hire me. The only reason I'm actually not working with her right now is because she wanted an assistant / social media manager, which is something I don't do. The elements in that DM are really, really important, and you can use that as a template, screenshot it, make it yours, whatever you want. But let me just show you a DM where I've gotten ghosted because that happens all the time too. Oh my god, I think this is the funniest thing I've ever done. If any of you watch Love Island, then you know. I literally became obsessed with Molly May and I was like, I can take her social media to the next level, and I cold DM'd her, but was ghosted. And I understand that. But in hindsight, my DM to her was really bad and I wouldn't have responded either. It was really short and I didn't explain the value that I could bring to her and her business. I have not looked back on that DM in a while. Molly May, if you're seeing this, I still would want to work with you. But anyways, I wanted to share that because you can see what works and what doesn't, and you can take any of this all of it doesn't matter to me. And remember, the answer is always no if you don't ask. So it's worth asking, worth putting yourself out there, worth cold DMing and emailing every single day. If you have questions, let me know. I'll answer anything in the comments.
Another banger. Baby, calm down, calm down. Yo, this your body, it puts in my heart for lockdown, oh lockdown. Yo, you sweet life, phantom. If I tell you, say I love you, no day for me, yanga, oh yanga. No, tell me, no, oh, baby, gon' give me your lo.
I'm just gonna say this, and I don't know how everybody's gonna feel about this, but the dark undersaturated era of content is over. I'm a social media manager. It is literally my job to look at what's trending and what's not, and this has been in the mix for such a long time. The dark undersaturated feeds and the dark undersaturated content. I actually saw a brand deal come in and specifically say no dark undersaturated content because it messes with the conversion of product, which I think is kind of interesting. But I'm gonna pop up what's trending instead. And I don't know, I think everybody's craving like the light and bright instead of the dark and like hard to see. I'm definitely over that. I think it looked nice for a little bit, and now I'm just like, if I see it, I scroll past it. But what are your guys' thoughts? Do you like it?